Gamers, today we are reacting to the densest city on Earth. As always, I recommend you watch the original video and then you come back and check out my reaction. With that being said, I also talk too much in these videos. Fair warning. Enjoy the video. If you do, feel free to drop a like and a sub, and I would love to see you come hang out on a Twitch stream sometime. I go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Second link in the description. Okay, the densest city on Earth. Let me tap in, bro. Shout out on me for the recommendation.
What you are looking at is considered the most densely populated place that ever existed. On an area of just
existed? Is it over? Did they die?
6.5 acres, or
Did it blow
4
up?
football fields. Dozens of individual buildings have merged into one solid organism that houses shops, restaurants, churches, private homes, and virtually everything that makes a city. While the outside-facing apartments get to enjoy sunlight, a vast majority are located within this block.
This is literally just the world of Cloudpunk and Navalis.
Full of dark pathways.
Yeah. I mean, the game that oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. Hold on, let me look at it. It's in my Steam library. Yeah, this one. Kowloon's Curse Lost Resort. This game's based in there.
It is a giant urban maze that attracted all kinds of people with reasons to hide. This is Kowloon Walled City.
Kowloon.
To understand just how incredibly closely packed people lived here, let's compare this city with other places. Take the East Village in New York City, located in Lower Manhattan. There's a small park in the center, but other than that, it is a pretty dense neighborhood with historic row houses and more recent large apartment buildings. Based on the 2010 US Census, just over 44,000 people
Indonesia?
live here.
I'm not sure.
That results in a population density significantly higher than for all of New York City, and New York is the most densely populated city in the United States. By all means, this is a dense place, but let's compare it to Kowloon Walled City.
Hong Kong.
In 1987, a survey estimated that 33,000 people live here. The density is simply astounding.
Holy.
The number might have been even bigger, with some estimates going up to 50,000 people. Perhaps the strangest thing about Kowloon Walled City, however, is just how abrupt.
What is that beat from? It's like something I've been listening to recently. Is that that one Billie Eilish song that You'll need to hear this shit again. It's reminding me of something I've heard recently.
Perhaps the strangest thing about Kowloon Walled City, however, is just how abruptly it ends. While everything is crammed into this tight block of buildings, behind the sharp walls of the city, there are relatively spaced out buildings.
Yeah, what the
and
fuck?
even a park with sports fields. So why was everything crammed into this small
Brain Rot King? Thank you. Why am I still alive? I don't know. Got on some reacts. I've heard in New York, if you fall asleep outside, you'll get... What?
block? The answer is that Kowloon Walled City wasn't part of the rest of Hong Kong, but had its own legal status.
What?
The walled city began as nothing more than a small Chinese military outpost, stationing about 10 guards. It really started to take shape more than a century later, when the outpost was expanded by the construction of a larger fort.
Okay.
At the same time, the nearby harbor of Canton began to gain importance.
Ohio?
Chinese tea was a hot commodity for British traders, who purchased it in staggering volumes, allowing this region to prosper. However, the trade relationship was notably unbalanced. While the British bought large quantities of tea, the Chinese had little need for goods from Europe. To improve this trade balance, the British began to illegally import opium from India to China. This scheme proved effective.
Playboy Cardi?
With the widespread consumption of the drug escalating rapidly. This led to an addiction epidemic, which wreaked havoc on the Chinese economy. Recognizing this crisis...
Guys, do not say base to getting them addicted to opium, okay? Don't say based, okay?
The imperial government took decisive action to halt the opium trade, but this move led to a heated conflict, which would later be known as the First Opium War between Great Britain and...
First? There was multiple? Oh, right. Isn't it Playboy Cardi versus Yeet now? What Opium War is that? Which one are we up to? Like 15?
Chinese Empire. Britain won the war and subsequently occupied Hong Kong in
Right, as, you know, Britain does. Like to take over things.
1841. The walled city was not affected as it was located on the island nearby. And as a result of this loss, the Chinese Empire decided to reinforce the fort in Kowloon by building large walls around
Oh, Lord. Oh, Josh, thank God you're here just in time.
it, giving the area its lasting name, Kowloon Walled City. At the heart of this fortress, they built a yamen, which is the main office from which this outpost is administered.
Let's drug your population and cause a crisis, or we will invade you. Yeah. Shout out Britain.
The tensions between China and Britain
Let us drug your population and cause a crisis, or we will invade you, or at least give you like measles and shit.
continued on, ultimately leading to the Second Opium War in 1860. As a result, the Kowloon Peninsula too fell into British hands. And the final boundary negotiation took place in 1898, resulting in a 99-year lease of the new territories to Britain.
What?
This is, in short, the story of how Hong Kong became a British colony as it is commonly known. But what is often overlooked is that the convention included one specific exception: the Kowloon Walled City, which is located inside the new territories, a Chinese enclave in the middle of British Hong Kong. As time moved on, both the Chinese and the British administrations showed a lack of interest in the walled city, leaving it to its own fate.
That's real, Potato. That's real, bro.
Desolate barracks soon
Josh, meet our new friend Potato, dude. I think him and Jay should have a freak off.
became makeshift homes for squatters seeking refuge.
Oh.
And recognizing the need for community structures, a Protestant church seized the opportunity to establish a senior home within the historic Yamen. But the peaceful existence of this enclave was shattered in 1937 when war erupted between Japan and China. The full-scale invasion initiated by Japan emerged as the central conflict in the Pacific throughout World War II. And by 1942, Japan had taken control of vast swaths of northern China, as well as holding various coastal exclaves.
Hey, Josh, I have mental problems and enjoy burdening random people online with them. Dude, I swear to God, you're going to fit in so well here, bro. Oh, God, Japan committed so many atrocities. They make Germans look nice. What? Dude, I'm sorry. Usually I try and add a little bit more to these commentary videos. All I have is some jokes here and there, okay? I don't have anything else. I'm just sitting in here taking it all in, man.
One of them being Hong Kong, which they utilized as a strategic
wait till you meet the regulars.
military base. The Japanese expanded the local Kai Tak airport, and to do so they needed building materials. Therefore, they tore down the walls of Kowloon Walled City, which was located right near the airport.
Oh?
The end of the Second World War saw Hong Kong revert to British control. Simultaneously, the newly founded People's Republic of China in 1949 reasserted its right over the Kowloon Walled City. Practically, however, neither the Chinese nor the British took control of this area. And with
Oh, for real, Potato? That's funny, because your dad definitely does. By the time we had last night.
a massive wave of refugees in the wake of the Chinese Civil War, the need for cheap living space in Hong Kong was immense. And so, in the decades that followed, a maze of buildings grew ever higher and denser. Single houses became multi-story buildings, became 14-story skyscrapers. The sunlit
Were they not worried about, the structure of them? They're just like, yeah, let's just build the whole 2 stories. I'm sure it'll be fine with 14.
streets turned into shaded paths until they were eventually completely blocked from sunlight. Within the confines of the walled city, the laws of Hong Kong were not enforced. Any construction within the city proceeded without adhering to any building
We
codes,
got money, we don't
with
need safety.
one singular
Oh.
exception.
we
Due
go.
to the city's close proximity to Kai Tak Airport, a strict height limit of 14 stories was enforced. Kowloon Walled City was located right along the
my
path
God.
into the airport. Landings at Kai Tak were one of a kind, with pilots navigating through Hong Kong's mountainous terrain, flying remarkably close to the walled city on
That's
final
gotta be
approach.
photoshopped.
The highest priced apartments were those facing the outside, followed by those near the internal courtyard. These units offered the precious commodity of sunlight and fresh air, and you could add a caged balcony to your apartment, cleverly expanding your living space. But most of the units were located inside, in extremely unhealthy conditions. This is a plan for a typical building inside the city. With no windows, people here were completely dependent on electric light. There also was no
Toilet and kitchen? Toilet and kitchen?
Electric light. There also was no waste management in place, which led to catastrophic air quality. Frequently, rubbish was simply disposed on one of the city's rooftops or thrown into one of the shafts between buildings. The air is said to have been constantly stuffy and polluted by the many factories that operated inside the city.
What?
As for clean water, a mere 6 official water stations served the entire city, which means residents often had to carry the water over long distances. In terms of electricity, few actually paid for the service. Instead, most residents opted to illegally tap into external cables, routing them through the city's intricate maze of narrow passageways. These harsh living conditions attracted not just those looking for a cheap place to live. The city's ambiguous legal status also attracted those who saw potential for unique business opportunities within its shadowy confines.
Dude, I really am. I don't have anything to add to this. Usually I'm watching videos where I can be like, well, this is how I see it. This, I'm just dumbfounded. I'm hitting a full XQC react right now. He didn't buy more from the item shop. Yeah, dude, I didn't buy any more emotes or anything, dude. To be fair, I wouldn't pay for electricity when I have to live in that dump. True, and they're charging, like, way back whenever, $40,000 for one of those units. Hell nah. Where your kitchen is also your bathroom, by the way. Hope you don't have to take a big steamy shit with your family of 5 in there, buddy.
The walled city became a popular hub for dentists. Many of those had obtained their qualifications in mainland China, but found their licenses unrecognized in British-governed Hong Kong. This rendered them unable to legally practice elsewhere in the city. The absence of regulatory oversight also allowed various workshops, such as those specializing in metal fabrication, to flourish within the city. And kitchens were selling popular food items that were outlawed in the rest of Hong Kong, such as dog meat. Generally, food production was a common business inside the city, despite the completely unsanitary conditions.
How many times a week do we host a frisbee blast here? Anyone know? What's a frisbee blast? Is it like playing DJ? Should I shit in the sink or the Tupperware container? Definitely Tupperware container. And then toss it at your annoying neighbor. I'm not even touching that one. Level 2 circle jerk. Oh. You're gonna have to get with my event coordinator, just Josh P. Okay, he's coordinated the goon sesh, the group goon sesh, the squirt comp 1 and 2, and the nut fest 1, 2, 3, and 5.
It is even said that many of the delicacies processed
and Josh handles the orgy planning. Yeah, that too. So, okay, we have squirt comp 3 coming up soon. Yeah, so we're kind of all hands on deck for that one. So, I don't know.
Over the day ended up on the plates of expensive restaurants across Hong Kong later in the...
What about the chatterbait rankings? See, you're gonna have to go to twitch.tv/watchphelan for that one. We don't do that here. Sorry, man. Just the jerk comps, squirt comps, group jerks, and some of the other odds and ends.
Night. While these kinds of businesses within the walled city skirted the edge of legality, others plunged straight into the realms of serious criminal activity. Just because this city is free from the laws of Hong Kong did not mean it was a space without order. Power structures still exist, with the triads, notorious criminal gangs, controlling the city. While businesses did not pay taxes, many of them were forced to pay protection money to these groups. and the triads themselves engaged in illegal businesses, such as
Who's the bottom in the orgy, or does it rotate? Yeah, so that twitch.tv/watch Valen guy I was talking about, yeah, so.
soliciting prostitution, opium dens, and in the later years venturing into heroin trafficking.
This just sounds like West Virginia. They just slammed West Virginia into a box.
Hong Kong authorities found themselves in a difficult position, not wanting to let the growing addiction problem get out of hand. A permanent police presence inside the city would be an affront to China, which still claims the territory as its own. Therefore, in the mid-1970s, the authorities decided to carry out many isolated raids, with police officers storming the city for short periods of time, arresting criminals, confiscating drugs, and then leaving again. In addition, various private aid organizations established themselves, operating a kindergarten as well as a Christian missionary youth center that offers help with addiction. The historic Yamen in the middle of the city became a popular social spot, hosting public events for the city's residents. Even though the situation in the—
Oh, Josh, did you see my text, by the way? Dude, speaking of Valen, I think he was talking about ValenCon soon. / that means you got to be like, grew and round up all the— grew and round ass all up and go. Minions, tonight we steal ValenCon. No, let me look. So this is Los Angeles, explains a lot.
The city improved in parts. It was again geopolitical reasons that ultimately ushered in the final chapter of the city. Its legal status was a result of the 99-year lease of the surrounding new territories, and it is precisely that countdown that was coming to an end. In 1984, after years of negotiations, Great Britain and China agreed on a handover of all of Hong Kong back to China. This handover was scheduled to take place in 1997, but the breakthrough in negotiations also cleared up the dispute regarding Kowloon.
Oh boy, the CCP ain't gonna let that shit continue. Bro, they're just gonna blow this place up. They're gonna be like, no, actually, they're gonna have like one person go in there and be like, mods, blow this fucking place up.
Walled city. Despite massive resistance from the city's residents, the two governments jointly decided that the social situation, the risk of fire breaking out, as well as the fear of any of the buildings collapsing, would justify the complete evacuation and demolition of the city. With the start of the demolition in 1993, Kowloon Walled City came to an end. But as the city fades into memory, two diametrically opposed ideas of its existence emerge.
What?
The dystopian image of the city inspired a large number of fictional depictions in film and art, often showcasing Kowloon Walled City as a futuristic hotbed of crime and corruption. As such, the city inspired tons of dystopian fantasies. However, what gets lost here is that this city was also a vibrant, tightly knit community. As chaotic as the city may appear from the outside, there was actually a lot of order. And the notion of complete chaos is simply wrong. You could send—
I really want to replay Call of Duty Black Ops, by the way. That's one to be on the lookout for your boy to replay. The fucking campaign from that game was peak.
A letter to someone living inside the city, and despite the apparent chaos, it would get delivered just fine. People came here with nothing. They then raised children, established businesses, and then had to—
maybe, Emerald, is that the one that I already played a little while ago? AKA like 2022? Maybe beginning of 2023? Kino Pet? But Emerald, yeah, feel free to throw it in game recommendations and I'll tap in the Discord.
To self-organize those aspects of city life that—
a Black Ops zombie map? Oh, don't even get me started, pal. Don't even get me started. Let me back up here. Sorry, I've been pausing so much.
People came here with nothing. They then raised children, established businesses, and then had to self-organize those aspects of city life that the lack of government had left out. To many, Kowloon Walled City is a symbol of Hong Kong, showing that hardworking people were able to create community even despite harsh conditions. Today, on the site of the walled city, there is a park where remains of the historical city can be found in several places, such as the historic Yamen building still standing, as well as a small model remembering the urban monolith that once stood here.
That's sick.
It's easy to vilify, and it's just as easy to romanticize a place like this. Ultimately, the answer might lie somewhere in the middle. The story of Kowloon Walled City is one I've been meaning to tell for a long time, because it's a story that explores the intersections of architecture, history, and culture. Looking at
CCP didn't want the logistical headache of managing that place, so down it goes. Yeah, I mean, I can't even blame them, honestly. Especially with, like, it was definitely not structurally sound. Like, there's no way that shit would have lasted until now, you know?
changes of urban places throughout the decades, I think, can be incredibly insightful to understand the world we live in. One of my favorite videos I did that explores exactly these intersections is my video about the construction of the original Twin Towers.
The Twin Towers!
In which I explain how these buildings completely changed how skyscrapers are built. This video is part of my ongoing video series Underexposure, which also features videos about the raid on Bin Laden's compound in 2011, as well as a video about the Tenerife disaster, which was the worst.
It's a Hong Kong city. CCP wouldn't have cared if a few people died there. I guess you're right.
Aviation accident that ever occurred.
Huh?
These are videos that are not made for the YouTube algorithm. Instead, this series is made for the big screen.
Huh?
A series where I fully, creatively tell stories just how I want to. And the reason all this is possible is because me and a bunch of creators have gotten together to build our very own streaming site. And it's called Nebula. The idea is simple. Since Nebula is not an ad-driven platform like YouTube, but a subscription model, we get to create higher-budget productions. Some of my favorite shows across the board are on Nebula. They're entertaining, but since we mostly are educational creators, there's also just so much to learn at the same time. And I am immensely proud of what my original series has become. So go to nebula.tv/neo and make sure you use that link so that you get 40% off on an annual plan. All my exclusive videos are up there, so
hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. Honestly, it's a miracle the whole thing didn't go up in flames at some point. You'd think a massive fire would have started from something at a lantern or the heavy industry that happened in there. Yeah. It's forever a model for incredibly dense dystopian science fiction cities. Night Runner, Dread, Cyberpunk, all of them. You can see the Inspried. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Can I suggest you read a book to read? If it's not the Bible or the Communist Manifesto, I'm good. How do you burn down a concrete house? A lot of them were. Oh, that's a good question. How the Twin Towers were built. Can we get a sequel? How the Twin Towers were destroyed? No, it's 9/11 Part 2. It's a good book. Oh, I was trying to figure out what to say. Oh, bet goat.